Happy Wednesday, everyone. It's Linda and Alyssa back with you again to talk about topics related to workplace wellness and helping you to feel healthier, happier, and really learn how to thrive at work. Because so much is within your control, even when you think it isn't. And so, hi, Alyssa. Nice to see you again.
Hello, Linda. It's nice to see you too.
Yes, Wednesday's coming around again. And today we're going to cover the topic of um, sensitivity and empathy at work. And if you are, I mean, both Alyssa and I are very familiar with this as highly sensitive people and empaths as well. When you do have those traits, either one of them or both of them, um, it can feel very uncomfortable in the workplace. You might feel that you have to hide it. You might not even know that that's what you are. I remember when I first heard the term highly sensitive, it didn't really mean anything to me. It wasn't until I read read the book on highly sensitive people and learned more about what that meant that I really realized that applied to me. So Alyssa, what are your thoughts on being a highly sensitive person or an empath in the workplace, and how does it bring value?
I think it brings a lot of value, and it is one of those things that, first of all, as recognizing you have one of those traits, it's important to work on how you can take advantage and how you can use those traits to your advantage. Sometimes, in my case, I didn't see it as an advantage. I actually saw it as a weakness. I didn't learn until very recently, I'm just saying, like a couple of years ago, that I was a highly sensitive person. I did not know about the term. I There were a lot of things affecting me, and I thought it was there was something wrong with me. So I that was a difficult situation for me, something that I didn't accept until recently. But once I learned, now I see the value that I can bring to what I do and how I can manage my energy and my personality in a way that doesn't affect me as much, where I can also support others and not um, getting myself into trouble or compromising too much. So it's one of those things that I think, like everybody, like, we have different type of personalities. There are things that can work to our advantage, and there are other things that we need to see how we adapt it so we are able to better perform. So that's my take. I have a question for you. How did you discover that you were highly sensitive? I know you read the book, but what did you notice? Like, what clicked for you?
Well, I've always known that I was different from other people. People frequently said to me as I was growing up, stop being so sensitive, stop taking things so personally. You know, you think too much. I was too much, or like, why can't you be more like so and so? And so most of my time growing up was spent trying to fit in and trying to be like other people, but it was clear that I really wasn't. But that was the only thing I wanted, to just be like everybody else. So I didn't. It was after I'd started my business and I was coaching and I was, running my business. And a friend of mine told me about a book called The Highly Sensitive Person. And I thought, oh, yeah, that sounds nice. And I didn't do anything about it. And then I think I heard about it two more times from two different people. And I thought, okay, so I've heard it three times now. Maybe I should read the book. But honestly, I got the book and was reading it because I thought there might be something in here that will help my clients. And then as I was reading the book, it just suddenly, for the first time ever, made sense of who I am and why I'd experienced the things I had growing up, why I always felt so different. It just made everything clear. And then it really helped me understand myself and my life journey so far. And and that was the point, I think, at which I learned to embrace it and accept it. It took a little while because I'd always seen it, the fact that I was so different, as something that needed to be fixed. And so I'd always tried to deny those parts of me that were so sensitive. It made me feel embarrassed, if I felt things too deeply or something like that. And so now I see it for the gift that it is. I know it's not something to be fixed. There's nothing wrong with me. This is a trait, and for each of us, it manifests differently. Each of us has different sensitivities. So it's about learning what that means for you, and then learning how to really use the trait as a strength, because it truly is a strength, and any employer would be really lucky to have highly sensitive people, empaths, in their company. And I think there's a quote in one of Elaine Aron's books, that she's the one who wrote the book about the highly sensitive person, that says something along the lines of, at some point in the future, companies will compete for their share of highly sensitive people because of the value that they bring. And I think we're very fortunate in this time right now, because it's being discussed a lot more. There is a lot more awareness is coming. I just in October was part of one of the speakers for a virtual summit that was on empathic leadership. And so just the fact that these conversations are happening, it is very, very encouraging. And I just wanted to add that whether you feel you're highly sensitive or not, it's something you need to be aware of, because I guarantee you, even if you're not, you will know somebody who is, and it will make sense of why they are the way they are, and show you how you can really have a better relationship with that person.
Yes, and I read that 20% of the population are highly sensitive or
It
empath.
might be more, and I think
More,
amongst
yes.
younger people, coming along now, I think more younger people tend to be more sensitive.
Mhm.
And it's always been seen, the word sensitive has a very negative
Yes, connotation.
association with it. And people think sensitivity, if you're sensitive, you're weak, you're fragile, that like they have to tiptoe around you.
Mhm.
When actually the opposite is true. I found that highly sensitive people, the more sensitive you are, the stronger you are. And it is a great strength. It is. I think maybe we should explain what it means for those people who don't know. Just
Yes.
very in a nutshell, it means that things around you, your environment, the people around you, energy affects you a lot more deeply than people who are not highly sensitive. You feel things, you see things, you hear things, you smell things. Your senses are heightened.
Hyper develop, yes.
Yes, and you notice things probably that other people don't notice. The
Mhm.
subtleties, really, you can tell. Somebody might be saying one thing, but you can tell by their facial expression whether they really mean something else. So you pick up on those nuances. So when you see things or feel things or hear things that other people don't, and you say something about that, sometimes you might have had a bad experience where everybody else is saying, I don't know what you're talking about, because they don't see it or hear it or feel it, and you very clearly do. So it's that sense of being different, and maybe you've been told how different you are, and maybe people have said stop being so sensitive. So those are some of the things. But what that means really is that then when you are out in the world, things are impacting you. You're feeling a lot more things than other people do. You'll pick up on people's energy, on people's emotions, the energy in an environment, even global things
News,
that happen globally affect you much more deeply.
yes.
So it's a much deeper. You really do feel things a lot more than people who are not highly sensitive.
Right, and you may need more time to decompress. You enjoy time on your own, and you like to just take that time to be by yourself, quiet time. It will be important to recharge. Some highly sensitive people don't like to be in crowds, or they try to avoid it as much as possible, or traffic, or be on the subway, because it's a lot. It's a lot
There's a lot.
to take. It's so these are the things that it will be important to identify, to become aware of, so you start understanding why you feel certain way, why you feel like maybe at night it's hard to unwind, it's hard to have a proper rest, and to make changes during the day, so you give your nervous system more time to to reprogram and to be able to do the things that it needs to do. It's not, yes, that we are different in a way that it is a weakness or it's something bad. No, it's just that we take on so much information, so many details. And that's one of the good traits, I would say. We're very detail oriented. We can see things that maybe other people can see, but it takes a lot of energy too. So that's why it's important to take those breaks, to give our nervous system time to recover from that.
Yeah, I mean, there's I think a perception that if you're highly sensitive, it must mean you're an introvert. It's
Yes.
true that more about 70%, I think they say, of highly sensitive people tend to be on the introvert side. But I know highly sensitive people who are extroverted, which means they love going out and being with people, but they also very much need to decompress afterwards. They need downtime. They are energized by being with people, but then they need a break from that. Whereas an introverted person like me, I don't like being in crowds. I don't like being around lots of people. It's
Right.
exhausting for me. And I can do it for periods of time, but I have to prepare myself before I'm going to be in that situation, manage my energy when I'm in that situation with lots of people, and then certainly manage my energy afterwards to sort of regroup and reset. So it's a lot. We're dealing with a lot, and this is why I say it's actually a strength. It's a great strength when you learn how to manage it properly.
Yes.
But to do that, you have to understand it and understand what it means for you. I actually wrote the book on it. It's my Value Me book up there. That is,
Yes.
it's the benefit of being a highly sensitive professional, and it talks about many highly sensitive people at work don't feel valued and appreciated for being who they are. They feel like they
Mhm.
have to be somebody else to be
Different.
told
Yes.
back. And the whole point is that when you understand it, what it means for you, and you accept it and embrace it, then you can fully be yourself. And that's when other people will value you. So it's, rather than saying, well, people don't understand me, or they don't value me or appreciate me, you have to value and appreciate yourself first. And then you'll find that other people start to as well. But you
Yes.
have to own it. And,
You have to own it.
yeah.
Yes.
And
I,
I
I
have a friend who's in sales. She's been in sales all her life, and she was going for a new job. And she's an empath. She's very, very, very intuitive. Picks up on things very quickly, and she's always been at the top of her sales. Whatever team she's on, she's always at the top. And she was going for a new job, and she said that she'd never talked about empathy before, never talked about this trait. But she said at this interview, she decided, I'm just going to be honest, and I'm just going to say this is who I am. And they snapped her up like that because they knew that the more empathy you have with a potential customer, the easier sales. This is why she was always so good at sales, is
she
because
builds that relationship.
builds the relationship very quickly, very naturally, very easily. People trust her, and it's just a very natural thing. So there's so much value you can bring
Yes.
this people.
Yes, because we go from building relationships that are meaningful. It's not
Yeah.
superficial type of
Mm.
relationships. We care not only for the professional side of clients or people, but also their personal side because we are a
Mm.
whole self.
Mm.
So I think people appreciate that.
Yeah.
And that's how you can sustain and you can maintain those type of relationships in the long term.
Yeah. And I think, really, if you're having any difficulty, if you feel you're highly sensitive or highly empathic and you're having any difficulty at work, I think people are often afraid of what they don't understand. And
Yes.
if they don't understand you and they have no frame of reference for what you experience, there can be an intimidation factor there that can bring up some
Yes.
insecurities within those people. So maybe they keep you at a distance, or tell you're wrong, or something like that. But this is why I think sometimes, obviously, you don't need to go around saying to everybody, "Hey, I'm highly sensitive," and this and
Yeah,
that.
of
You know what I
course.
mean? But sometimes it's helpful to help people understand. So, for example, if I go to a conference and there's a lot of people, it's very overwhelming for me. And in the past, if I don't take care of my energy properly, I will get a migraine, a really bad migraine from that, just because of all the energy bombardment. But so and so it's very helpful for me to sort of leave for about 5 minutes, just step outside, maybe just there may be a time when I just need to be on my own for a few minutes, just to sort of reset my energy before I can go back into that. And I used to be very embarrassed about that, so I would either force myself to stay, or I would leave and then for a few minutes, and then leave people wondering, well, what's wrong with her. But now I know that I can just say, if there's any people that I'm with, I can just say, I'm feeling overwhelmed at the moment with sort of energy and emotion. So I'm just going to step outside for 5 minutes and I'll be right back. And they say, oh, okay. People appreciate being told or understanding what it is that you need to do for yourself.
Yes.
But you have to know what you need first to be able to do
Right. Right. Yeah, I felt the same way. I felt embarrassed to even step out and take time for myself. Even with my family, they would be worried. What's wrong? Are you okay?
that. Mm,
Something wrong? But then now that I talk more about it, now that I understand what's happening, then they understand and they give me
mm,
the space. And I'll be doing some of the energy exercises to ground myself, some of the tools, techniques that I do. I don't care anymore if they're watching me, even on the street. If I do
mm.
it and people think I'm weird, I don't care anymore. Before, oh my goodness, I
Yeah,
would care so much
yeah,
about what they would think about me.
right.
Um, One thing that I wanted to ask, and I know we're about time, well, we're past time, but this
Yeah.
is really important. I have some people in my network that feel very ashamed about this and they don't quite accept it yet. Although I've told them, I think you are, and it would be important for you to read about it. This was a life changing for me. It was life changing. And I believe it's a superpower, but they don't see it as a superpower yet. What
Mm.
can you tell those people?
I would tell those people, you have to start learning about what it means for you. Just start being curious about it. Find other people who are highly sensitive. Talk to them, because one of the challenges when you are a highly sensitive person is that you hesitate to talk to people about it, because in your experience people don't understand, and then your ideas or thoughts might have been shot down, or you've been told you're wrong. So this is why I think community is really, really helpful. I When I understood that I'm highly sensitive, I also realized that just sort of naturally, the clients that came to me, the people that found me, actually were highly sensitive as well. So I sort of built that community. It's when you find the difference when you find someone who is also highly sensitive, and you can be honest with that person. They will not judge you. They completely get your experiences. They understand it. I think it's really helpful to do that, and that can help you understand yourself. So you have to learn what the trait means for you, and to be able to do that, it's really helpful to find other people who have the trait and talk to them. because they will help you understand yourself. So it's really about self-awareness, paying attention to what triggers you, what affects you, and really learning to understand yourself.
Yes. Yes. Perfect. Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
time
Well,
flew today again.
yes. Again, this is a topic we could talk about for a lot
Yes.
longer. And if you are highly sensitive, empathic, having any challenges, reach out to us, because I'd certainly be happy to talk to anyone, and share your challenges, because we will understand what it is that you're going through. So next week we're talking about something that you could really say is a sort of the next step in this, or leading on from this, and that is psychological safety. And sometimes we don't feel that when it comes to work. So we'll talk about what that means, and how do you get to the point where you do feel safe if you don't now. So we'll have a little discussion about that next week, so I'll look forward to that.
Me
Thank you
too.
again, Alyssa, for sharing your thoughts and wisdom. And yeah, I mean, people encourage you to reach out to us with any questions, ideas for topics, anything that you're struggling with at work and would like to do better with,
Yes.
or feel better with. All right, so until next Wednesday, we'll say goodbye, and we will see you then. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.